Well, we had some conversations as a staff team on Tuesday in which Camilla told us that there was a possibility that this might happen, and so as a result of that we began taking precautions to think about our most vulnerable young people and children and think about what we could possibly do if that were to come to fruition. I know that all of the staff team, particularly those who work in the senior level, have been working right up until the last minute to try and find some way forward. And so we had the confirmation at around 5 p.m. yesterday.
From what Camilla Batmangeli was saying, and from the conversations you've had with other senior staff, was this closure predicated on financial grounds? Was it simply because there was a lack of funding?
I think that it was, as Camilla said in the report, a more complicated situation than that. I think ultimately there have been a whole range of damaging headlines recently, and that made it very difficult for us to fundraise. And so I think in terms of sustainability, anyway, we knew that in order to continue working at the level of intensity that we were working, with the level of need that we were working with, we needed more secure funding. And so then these headlines which came out just further destabilised things.
What do you make of the charge that has been laid at the door of the chief executive, the former chief executive of the kids' company, that she was a fantastic fundraiser, that she was able to get the great and the good to dip deep into their pockets, but there were some structural issues with the charity which perhaps meant money wasn't used as efficiently as possible?
Well, I think the first part's very true. She was an amazing fundraiser, but I also think that Kids Company was a unique organisation. We operated with very complex children and young people, with children and young people that other agencies struggled to engage with, and with children and young people in crisis situations. So on a daily basis, we would have people self-referring to our doors in extreme situations, homelessness, extreme danger, real huge levels of poverty. And I think that when you're working with those types of people in those types of situations, the sort of normal structures that may work in other organisations aren't effective because they take too long. And so I think what is fair to say is that we had a very different approach and a very different model to everybody else.
Isn't there though, a flip side to that coin, that when so many thousands of children come to rely upon an organisation as Kids Company, as they undoubtedly have, it then means that this company must be run as efficiently, as straightforwardly as possible, so that headlines, the like of which we've seen recently, do not arise?
Well, I think there's a difference between efficiency and structure, and I think that Kids Company was incredibly efficient. And I think if you look at our outcomes in terms of children and young people and the speed with which we've been able to provide the services that they required of us, you can see that actually we were incredibly efficient. I think that structure is something that we worked on in a more flexible way than other organisations, and I do think that actually it was very successful. We did have structures that worked. The difficulty was that we didn't have the financial sustainability, and others didn't understand the complexity of that flexible way of working.
There has been an allegation that's been repeated a number of times that you might be able to deal with, that there were children who attended Kids Company meetings, clubs, the like, who turned up on a Friday and were handed envelopes with cash inside. I mean, what's the truth in that?
Well, I think Kids Company provides a wraparound service, so the idea of our service was to replicate that of a parent or supplement that of a parent. And I think, nobody is disputing the fact that children received money from Kids Company and food vouchers from Kids Company. The reality is that in the vast majority of cases that was small amounts of money for specific purposes, and it was given out by staff that knew children and families incredibly well, and it was done within the context of a whole range of other wraparound services. So as well as money, we were providing food, we were providing therapeutic support, we were providing key working. And I think if you think about that in the way you would think about parenting and pocket money and providing basic needs, whilst also providing love and care and understanding and constantly and informally thinking about risk and managing risk, you can see that the kind of the safety and the context within which money was given. And I think all of us are completely unashamed of the fact that that went on.
And I think there will certainly be thousands of children up and down the country hoping that other parts of the charitable sector can step in. Rachel, thanks very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.